Hey, Game Changers, what's going on? We are live here on the campus of the University of Nebraska, Omaha, smack dab in the heart of Omaha. We are here on the very first day of fall semester. That's right, they call it Durango days, and as you can tell, it is a buzz behind us. We have classes going on, we got food being distributed, we got music, not ours. They said we couldn't bring it this year. It's okay, though. It's okay. We'll bring it back soon. But guys, what's going on? It's Monday. You're probably like, geez, where are you guys at now? Well, I just told you we're in Omaha. A couple weeks ago, we were at a baseball game. You know, I don't know, next week, next month, we might be in D.C. We don't know. We'll just figure it out. But we are on the heels right now of celebrating my man Matthew on his 33rd birthday yesterday. Matt, how you feeling, man?
Man, it's funny you asked that because I literally was talking to someone yesterday about this, and I said, when I turned 30, I thought, oh man, life's just gotten real now. And then you turn 33, and then you know like the significance of like that year and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, it just got real again, you know?
Realer.
Yeah, for real. But you know, like everyone's kind of like, and I don't know if this is like a good or a bad thing because like, you know, society has just been crazy, but like people are saying like the 30s are the new 20s now or something.
It's true.
I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. Like, I guess like we're aging beautifully, it's a good thing, but like, I don't know. Does it mean like at 30 we're just acting like we're in our 20s and we haven't grown up or what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that phrase mean, you know? Because
That's fair.
I mean, people like talk about that all the time, you know? So it's like, I don't know. Like anymore though, like you go back and you just like reflect. Like I was texting with Brett Favre yesterday too, and he's like, bro, he's like, enjoy this because once you get older, they just start stacking up, and you're like, oh, it's my birthday, I forgot, you know, you know, yeah. So I don't know. Like when I woke up yesterday, it low key kind of didn't feel like it,
Yeah.
and then like it kind of started to settle in, and then you threw that like surprise party, like you joker, you know. Yeah.
It wasn't all me. Emily helped out
Yeah.
with that too. That was her idea mainly.
That
No,
was
we
crazy.
we wanted to celebrate you, man.
I
and-
appreciate that.
and
No, that was
honor
cool.
you. And for those that weren't there, we decked it out with Packers highlights. We
Yeah.
played the Packers touchdown song. I just want to bang on the drum all day. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
It was really good setup, man. I was shocked. I was like, y'all didn't just go with an appetizer. There was a whole entree, like, in that thing, man. Like, you know, every detail. I told my family that. I was like, the detail of this is crazy. Like, you guys really, like, yeah, you're on your game, for sure.
Well, we love you, man. And
I appreciate that.
obviously,
You know, the
every
love's real.
No matter how much birthdays stack up, everyone counts. You know, every single one counts.
Yeah.
And whether
Yeah.
20 is whether 30 is the new 20 or not, man, I'm just thankful
Yeah.
that just all the things that we've walked through
Yeah.
and all the things that we've watched you endure. And I believe in my heart, man, that we're coming out on the other side of this thing. And I'm
For
just
sure,
excited
bro.
for this year for you.
Yeah,
I really
for
am.
sure. Yeah, no, it's real, bro. Like, you know, when I'm on like a campus like this, bro, I really think like the beauty of it is like there's so many. And I don't know if they can hear me over there. If we could like turn the speaker up just a little bit over there so we can hear, but like I appreciate that. But
Turn me up.
so like I think like when you're on a place like this, bro, and we got Willie with us too right now, so like we're gonna like we're just
Yeah, we
chilling.
should've
Yeah, I'm like, what are you
introduced him.
doing, bro? I'm like, yeah.
We just got this random guy. No,
Anthony's got the bucket hat on today, and he's like, yeah, bro, like this is your like walking pillow with you today, bro. You know, yeah, I've never seen you in a bucket hat. I like it, bro. I was like, you walked in here like LeBron or something with this like bucket hat on. I was like, okay.
I'm just trying to match the vibe of campus right now.
Yeah.
Man, and it's
Okay.
super laid back.
So think about this. Like going back to campus, and like Willie, you can chime in, whatever, bro. But like the beauty of this is like you think back and you're like, okay, all these people here, all these people that are here, all come from different walks of life, and I think that's like the beauty in society is like we got to get back to like conversations of like, look, man, like
Yeah.
we're so like nitpicky now, and it's like we won't even like have a conversation anymore, and it's like, oh, just text me. Like, what happened to like handshakes and sitting down face to face, just shooting the breeze with someone, you know? And it's like just having a conversation. It's like, you know, that's what's like cool about this is like there's so many different cultures, races, backgrounds, everything, and like everyone can come together. And I think that's like the beauty of like big gatherings, man. That's why I like love communities, man. You just like, you know, you got to get back to the reality of like you never really know what someone's going through. Like you were mentioning, like, you know, coming out on the other side. How many people here they're looking to, you know, come out on the other side? The whole phrase is like old adage is like money doesn't buy happiness. At the end of the day, man, like I was doing research. Think about this. Okay, so it takes 21 days to build muscle memory on something, right? But you think about this. Do you know what dopamine rush like wears off after 6 weeks? Like something that you've done scientifically, it wears off after 6 weeks. So for instance, like when I was going through something, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna splurge and go buy another like new car. I was like, I want to do this. I just want to get something. It was like my dream car. I was like, I'm gonna go buy this, just for the heck of it. You know, for some people it might be I want to buy a second vacation home, or I want to buy these new shoes, or whatever it is somebody enjoys, like a hobby. I think it's important to have hobbies, but do you know after 6 weeks it settles in, it's old. So then what's the next dopamine rush? And I think sometimes in life people jump from dopamine rush to dopamine rush to dopamine rush, but then real life kicks in again. You know what I mean? And it's like, how much do we like, that's why you gotta like really treasure the people that check on you, your family, etc., people that you're really close with, like, and don't be afraid to check on somebody, like, because you really don't know what they're going through. And you may think just because they have that nice vehicle, that nice house, wear nice clothes, that, oh, they got everything, they're probably fine. Why are we assuming? You know? And it's like, when you're walking in a place like this, you really don't know, man. You don't know if somebody's got a full ride scholarship, but they're still not happy in life. You don't know if somebody doesn't have a full ride scholarship, but they're like, man, I'm just trying to figure out how I can go through school and then take on all this debt. Yeah. You don't know if somebody came from, you know, my parents were married, have been married 37 years. What if somebody's parents are married the same? What if somebody's like, oh, I never knew my dad or never knew my mom? Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of like life and just a place like this is you never know someone's background. But if we would step out of our comfort zone and just have conversation instead of like, oh, let me just follow you on social media, man, what would life be like? The problem is with life, y'all, we made a mistake in society when we let the internet think and communicate for us.
Come on.
That's when everything went downhill in this world, bro. Yeah. And it's like, we're old enough to say all that, you know? A lot of these people, like, they weren't around when we were in school like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're just coming into this toxicity, you know?
Well, and that's why we know when people are walking by the tent, you know, we're doing raffle giveaways and that sort of thing. But one of the main things we ask people is, hey, what are you going to school for? You know, what's your major? You get people to kind of open up and start talking about it, because then they start to, you know, dive into, well, you know, have you thought about what your actual purpose is? You know, have you thought about where you're going in life, even after college, even after you get that job? And it's like you said, Matt, we have these opportunities every single day to engage with people and to have conversations and to foster a relationship. And so many times we're texting. Yep. Or, you know, we're on the phone, or we got our earbuds in and we're moving forward. But, you know, those moments where you have the opportunity to engage with someone, to talk with them, that could be a life-changing moment for somebody.
Yes.
And we have to get back to that, where we are just considerate of what other people have going on in their own lives, even if they are just passing by, even if we are just on campus for a few days. I actually look forward to this every year, because there's some people that walk by with Gamechangers shirts just a few minutes ago, but to have the opportunity to to engage with students and to talk with them. And a few we've already formed, friendships, relationships with. And so to catch up with them and see what's going on in their lives, I mean, that planting seeds.
Yeah.
We can't overlook that and how important that is, but also just being there for people like you mentioned.
Yeah. So, like, both y'all went to, like, Northwest Missouri State, right? I mean, you were at Minnesota before Northwest, and obviously playing football. So, like, talk about, like, that campus life and stuff and just, like, the everyday pressures. And obviously, like, we were all student athletes. We were all guys that played sports. So, Willie and I have football backgrounds. You were track. So, it's like let's talk about that for a minute. Like, you get in a locker room like that, and there's so many different cultures and backgrounds,
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things about going from high school to college is, one, you are thrown immediately into independence, right? You've had your parents your whole life, and so you have that fallback. Like, am I doing this or am I not doing that? And I think one of the most interesting things about college is that it gives you a moment for self-discovery. And to go back to what Matt talked about with 20 is the new 30. For whatever reason, I feel like when you get to your 30s, people think it's over. And so there's a time where, like, in your 20s, you got the dopamine that they're talking about, and you're moving and you're pushing, and for wherever happened in society, we talk about the fact that, when you get to your 30s, everything slows down. Well, guess what? That's not true, because you're finding it now. Look at Matt and Anthony right now. Okay, we're in our 30s, we're thriving, we're prospering, we're pursuing purpose, and I think it's just to remind people that, hey, it's not where you start, but where you finish, and stop telling people that 30 is the finish line. I heard this saying, I don't know, years ago about young men. It says that they're born at 25 and they die at 75, right? And I was like, what does that mean? Well, guys have dreams at 25, and I'm going to do this. And by the time they're 30, if they don't get it, they feel like they failed. And I think that we have to get back to talking to this next generation about the fact that there is no ending point for the things that you want to pursue in life, as long as you keep the drive, as long as you keep your eyes off of the dopamine, the rush of the 6 weeks, and we can learn to be consistent, right? Instead of looking at our phones, because what's happening with these phones? We swipe every 3 seconds, and now we can't figure out why we can't stay consistent enough in society to actually make an impact. Because guess what? That 30-second reel, that 3-second reel. I think I heard this the other day.
If you make somewhere, man.
Yeah, if you make a reel that's longer than 5 seconds, you're losing interest. They're losing interest. You have 3 seconds to capture somebody's attention, and I think we need to slow down and bring it back to remind these kids it's going to take longer than an Instagram reel to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, how much have we talked about, bro? Because it's so spot on. Like, you're at a loss of words, bro. Hey,
should we just be done?
Yeah, for real. For real.
Just be done.
I mean, for real, because like think about this though. Like, how much have you and I talked about this one button tap mentality that, like, the world's in now? So, like, everything's one button tap away in life. You get upset at your job, what do? You go on home and you scroll LinkedIn for the next opportunity to get, like, maybe pick up an interview or send an application in. Your significant other upsets you, what do? Oh, well, there's 1,000 different dating apps. They just scroll. Or, you know what, I'm going to go to the Discover People section on Instagram and see about some pretty or handsome face to follow, right? And it's like everything's one button tap away. Like, you're tired, you don't feel like cooking dinner tonight. Well, there's DoorDash. I can just order something. We don't have to go to grocery stores or anymore because we can get them delivered to us. Like, everything is one button tap away. And what it's caused in life is for us to bro, like, there's even some people, you ask them, like, what do you do for a job? And they're like, oh, I'm an influencer. What do you mean you're an influencer? I stream. You stream what? Oh, well, I'm a gamer, or I make dances. Oh, so you do TikTok dances, and, you're on TikTok and doing those dances. Oh, you go put buckets on people's heads in a grocery store. It's like, no. An influencer is like the people, man, that, like, they're teaching you how to build a table, how to fix your heater or your air conditioning at your house. Like, those are the people that should be making big bucks for their YouTube channels. Yeah. What are we doing on this other stuff now? Like, there's like an excuse for people to just be home now.
Well, here's the issue that we're running into. You already mentioned it, so do you. society is going the way of being entertainment based.
Yeah.
So even the things that we are producing,
Yeah.
the things that we are making and creating are all for the benefit of distracting somebody else. And it goes back to this. We don't like to talk about the word suffering. We don't like to talk about the word enduring. We don't like to talk about the word of being faithful. And what I'm saying is,
Not wrong, bro.
even for the students here that are going to school, they're going to have to learn all three of those principles.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have classes that you're just going to have to endure. You're going to have maybe situations in life now that you're not living at home that you're going to have to suffer through. But will you remain faithful to get your degree? Will you remain faithful to honor maybe the financial aid that your parents have given you, or that scholarship that you've gotten to do what you were getting the opportunity to do? And that carries on through life. It's not just something here on campus. It's not just something that you go through if you're a Christian. It's everybody. We want to avoid the process, and the process involves suffering. What does that mean? Well, suffering means doing things that you don't like to do, or doing things that you have to do. And automatically, when you are going to honor the things that you must do versus the things that you want to do, you're going to bump up against some warfare, whether that's mental, whether that's spiritual,
For sure.
or even whether that's physical. And we have
could
to
be anything, financial, anything.
financial.
Yeah,
We
bro.
have to learn to stop just automatically desiring the result and start desiring the very strength and the very skill sets and capabilities that are born out of going through the process of suffering, enduring, and being faithful. And once we start to shift that way as a society, once we start thinking that way and generating a mindset, we're going to start to see a major dynamic change in how we conduct ourselves as Americans, how we conduct ourselves as Christians, how we conduct ourselves as men, as we conduct ourselves as families. Nobody wants to have to stick through anything. If it's not perfect or airbrushed or life isn't just rosy, we want out. Why?
One button tap.
One button tap. So then we check out mentally. We check out maybe physically. People walk out.
Yeah.
Or, we might be there, but we're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Why are we so afraid of the potential that's in us to just give our all, even when it's hard?
Okay, so like something I would say to every student here, there's a difference between your freshman year and your senior year.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And as a freshman, when you're coming in here, it's kind of like you're just like, you don't know what to expect. And you think, oh man, this is going to be a grind of 4 years. Shoot, like let's say you want to go, even at a senior level, and say you want to pursue a graduate degree. Think about those extra 2 years that, man, I got to go through this now too. Yeah. And it's like, the suffering is part of the process. And I think like we really lose the sight of that, you know? You guys know who David Goggins is? Like the motivational guy that like runs all the time? Yeah. My brother and I have listened to some of his stuff, and we were talking about it. And the guy was like saying, like, you need to do something every day that you absolutely despise. Every day you need to try to suffer at least once, if you can. Think about it. Like, even if something's just super small. Like, my brother and I were like, okay, let's just do this for, like, a couple weeks. Get up early in the morning and take a freezing cold shower. It builds like a mental, see even your reaction, you're like, ooh, think about it, because that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah. But if I can make my mind say, I'm just going to embrace it, this is a warm shower to me, like, you know what? At that point, it starts settling in. And it's like, it builds this like mental toughness in you to where it's like, you know what? I can handle this. I can do this. It's like, it's always like that first time when you put your like, you know, your big toe in like a pool of water before you like dive in. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I can do this. There's always that like first adrenaline rush, and then it just settles in. And I think like that's the thing of like life, man, is like you've got to do something every day that legitimately sucks, whether it's physically, emotionally, whatever it is. Because if you can come out on the other side and you can put yourself in sucky situations and then own them, there's not a lot in life then that'll intimidate you.
And that is the key, right? Is
Yes.
learning that when you go through something that is a trial or that you're enduring through something, then you come out on the other side of it and you recognize that the next time you come across something
Yes.
that is going to be a challenge, you think back to what you overcame already. And that's the key.
I
You
mean,
now have the tools to
yeah.
work through anything.
Think about in high school when everybody was like in a clique. You had your football players, you had your band members, you had everybody that was like, you know, you had your science fair people or whatever, you know. Everybody like had this like little space. What if we would have just like in high schools learned to like talk to somebody from another clique, man? It may suck as a jock at first to be like, oh, well, what's everyone going to think about me if I go talk to the nerdy, like, mathematician kid? But think about it, bro. Like, where would we be as a society if we did that again? You know? I mean, it's this whole, like, device-driven stuff has really, like, ruined even just not only just basic communication, it's ruined the way, like, we interview for jobs anymore. Like, forget putting on a nice suit coat and, like, going for an interview. Now it's like, oh, I just need to hear your voice, and your screen can be dark on Zoom or whatever, and as long as we're talking, it's okay. Then don't even get into, like, just everyday relationships of, like, people that are trying to find, like, a significant other. And it's like, it's not even, like, just hookups anymore. It's literally, like, it's turned into, like, trauma bonds now. Where it's like, oh, I like you because you went through a similar situation as me. So it becomes a dopamine rush. But then after 6 weeks of, like, we've talked about the same stories and past issues in our lives, they get bored. They go to the next person. It's a friends with benefits with trauma bonds. It turns into a situationship as opposed to anything. No wonder divorce rates are up and no wonder singleness is up. Because everybody's like, I'm just going to the next thing. Everyone's afraid of the commitment. Everyone's afraid of the potential suffering that can happen and challenges, because everything in life comes with a little suffering. There's always a risk in every reward. And the problem is people don't want to take the risk anymore. They don't want to take the risk to go to class. They don't want to take the risk to say, you know what, like, I'm going to get behind this person. They don't want to take the risk of approaching someone different than them. You know? Go ahead.
Well, let's bring it back to answer your original question about sports, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about football, the Oklahoma drill, old school. You know,
they don't even do those anymore.
They don't even. I don't know if they do them anymore, but
they don't even do that anymore.
Right. And in basketball, you know, suicides, right?
Yeah.
Well, think about this. That was mental endurance.
What he meant by that was going up, down.
Yeah, up and down.
They
down the
better
court.
know what that means.
They got to know.
They better
People
what
know
that
basketball.
means.
This
Yeah,
is
bro.
We can't assume. So I'm just saying there's
Just so we
lines on
know.
on a basketball court,
court.
and so you touch each line going back and forth from the baseline of that line, and it's very painful.
Thank you for clarifying. But I think that what we're looking at in society right now is, for example, the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah.
You used to get hit, then you had to find your way off the hit to find the target. Yeah. Well, now with like your phones, they're skipping it. It's like AI. It's like you don't even know what it feels like to get hit in society anymore because you keep avoiding it on your phone. If you're uncomfortable, you can immediately click off of a conversation. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So much for having to dig in and actually find a good website. It's like AI suggests, here's 3 websites for your Google search, you know.
And so now we're really desensitizing the kids from struggle when struggle is the very thing that makes you grow. For example, people forget when you put a seed in the ground, okay? The first thing it does is it goes to war with the dirt before it even comes out of the ground. And we have got to get back to a place in society to teach these young people it's okay to fight. It's okay to struggle to get a breakthrough, right? And so I think that's where we're at. With the social media, with the technology, it's amazing that we're allowing these young people to skip the very steps that are going to allow them to make them what they need to be successful.
So, like, talk about your guys' like backgrounds a little bit too, like.
Yeah.
And I don't care who wants to chime in on this, but like, what was that? As you like gradually went through college, like the first day compared to like that last day when you're graduating, and you can go the sports route, you can go class, you could go just relationship routes, friendships, like, because obviously like sitting on a team, like everybody's different, everybody came from some other city, state, wherever, right? And the thing about it was, and that's why I love sports, is like you all have like that common goal of like we're just trying to gain one thing.
Well, I think just to start off, that's the main thing is purpose.
Yes.
When you understand what your purpose is, that allows you to be rooted because now you're doing something or you're going through something that's beyond just yourself. Because if you're only doing something for the benefit of self, well, the minute things go south, you're out.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something with a purpose that's beyond self and it's for a greater purpose or it's connected to a common goal, doesn't matter how you feel, you're going to see it through. So that's the first thing. In terms of my college experience, it was interesting. But what I will say is going away to another state. So I went out of state for college, and I know you did too. Learning how to, one, start new, right? And then two, you're kind of on your own. I mean, I was within a drivable distance from my family, but they weren't there for everyday things.
Cooking every night and stuff. Like, yeah.
No. And, there's a lot of mistakes that I made, and there's a lot of bad choices that I made. But guess what? I had to learn how to deal and be accountable with the choices that I made. So even if it was a good choice or bad choice, I had to be accountable for the outcome that resulted from that, and I had to work through it. And so I would say that's one of the main things about the college experience. The second thing about it is this is something I would go back and do differently, but the application of self in the classroom. There's a lot of different things that you can do to maximize what you learn here. And I would say doing the bare minimum is not enough. Because sure, you can get a degree, but I mean, if there's people that went to college and through that college process started building a business, and now they're multimillionaires. There's people that, they came across a professor that helped them get a patent to launch a particular product or service, and they're multimillionaires. So that would be my response to anybody that's going to college now, is to maximize your experience in the classroom and leverage those opportunities and the wisdom of your professors. You never know. It might be the launch pad for that next business, that next patent. It might set you on course to, get an internship at like a Johns Hopkins or something,
It's funny you say that because I heard someone once say is like, don't be so quick to burn bridges because you never know that a bridge you once burned, you may have to try to cross later. Yeah. And you never know. Like, I can't tell you how many people, bro, from back in the day, like, just come back full circle. Literally. And you're like, oh, what in the world? I haven't seen you in a decade. And it just comes back full circle. Yeah. It's crazy in this world how many, if you put, like, most of the people in your life into one big circle and then put different sections of those grouped it out differently, you would see that there's a lot more that are acquaintances than they are like close friends. Yep. And society with these phones now, it's like, man, it's like everyone seems like they're just okay with being acquaintances now. Oh, they're a phone call away. But then it's like, I was talking to someone recently and they were like talking about moving and all of this, and they're like, yeah, like I'm moving from where I'm at. And the moment I announced I was moving, everyone's like, hey, let's grab coffee or dinner or something, or, throw down before you leave. And the guy was like telling some of these people, he's like, where were you the last 5 years? You didn't call me. You didn't check. You didn't link up with me. And it's like, now all of a sudden I'm leaving, and it's like, why do you want to get with me? Are you just trying to like get knowledge, get information, So talk about it with like your experience, because you were at two different universities.
So, yeah, I think one of the big things for me, going from Minnesota to Northwest Missouri State, was the lesson. I think the hardest lesson I had to learn was you are the company you keep. I heard this years ago. If you don't have a group of people that are pushing you to pursue greater things upon your life, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. And so as I went from freshman year at Minnesota, I realized, I'm just being honest, the people that you associate with determine your future. And so the classroom was amazing, but what you're doing, you're in the class for, let's say, 5 hours, 8 hours a week. What are you doing the other 100 and something hours?
Yeah.
And again, like I said, when you're in high school, you're at home. When you're here on the college campus, you are the adult now. And so you have to take responsibility and accountability and be able to actually slow down and understand that you need to start putting the pieces together to be successful. It doesn't take long to get around, hey, what are you doing tonight? Hey, what are you doing tonight? And there's good and there's bad. And you have to be able to be bold enough to decide, look, where do I want to be in 5 years, not in 5 weeks? And I think that's where, for me, my personal college experience is, if I could say anything to the young generation, is focus on the people that are going where you want to go, right? Because we say, well, what's your major? I don't know. But what are you passionate about? Well, I'm passionate about, I want to be in the Marine Corps. Okay, get around other guys who are pursuing that avenue through college. I want to be in education. I want to be in science. Well, get around those people, and don't just get around everyone that's in it. Find those that are actually thriving. You know, my father, side note, my father's 85 years old, and I was adopted as a kid, but he always told me, you can measure success by how much wisdom you get around ahead of time. And I said, Dad, what does that mean? He said, if you hang around people your age all the time, you're only going to be where those people of your age have that wisdom. But when you get around people that are 10, 15, 20 years plus in the same area that you're passionate about, you're going to accelerate that much quicker, because you're going to be able to not necessarily avoid the road bumps or the speed bumps, but you're going to be able to be coached through those things. And that's another thing as well that I had to learn in college, is being coachable. You've got to be coachable, and I think that's really hard in today's society, because everybody thinks they know something. Like you said, like Matt said, everyone's an influencer. I'm like, so you're unemployed? Like, you know, what are you doing? Like, what are you influencing? Are you influencing positivity? Are you influencing change? Are you influencing corruption? Because when you say that, you've got to be more specific about what you're doing, why you're doing it. Because guess what? At the end of the day, the most powerful thing in the world is what you say. Your words travel. Even right now as we talk, we're putting things out that are gonna benefit not only us, but the people listening and watching. And I think for me, again, just to finish out on college, you are the company you keep. Be very decisive about who you're around, and make a stand and say, this is where I'm going, and I'm not going to move until I get there.
That's really good. I want to jump on that just as you finish that, because I just thought about what you were saying. There's so much focus on getting a degree and what goes on in the classroom, but you just touched on, okay, what happens outside of the classroom? And while you may be going to get head knowledge, how are you building your character? There's no classroom for that. Yes. There's no guidebook that they're going to give you on how to build yourself up to be a person that is of integrity, strong character, a person that is going to be consistent, and also, like you said, they're going to do what you say. You're going to do what you say at all times. And I want to piggyback on what you said. Not only do you watch the company that you keep and be decisive, but also don't just invest in the head knowledge. Invest in building your character, and understand what your motives are and your intentions, and be honest with yourself, and be willing. And that's part of being teachable and coachable, is being willing to be self-examined. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you making the choices that you're making? And are you following through with what you're promising to do? That is going to matter. Like you said, 5-10 years down the road, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, influencer, whatever, a teacher, a pastor, an athlete, you have to be a person of strong character, high integrity, and you have to make sure that no matter what it is that you're doing, there is a way that you have to do it that is right. And what I mean by right, not right according to societal standards, not right according to your own eyes, but right according to what God says. And that is what is going to matter. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but it's going to matter on Judgment Day.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that sometimes in life you're going to have to go through some losses to get some significant wins and gains. Sometimes you have to be humbled. Sometimes you have to go through and losses can be defined so many different ways, right? It could be like something didn't go your way. It could be a relationship ending. It could be that job that didn't work out. Sometimes it's for your benefit, because we have to remember that, like, God hears conversations that will never be, like, he sits in rooms we'll never be in and hears other conversations. You know? You think about how many times we sit back and we're like, man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that room. And you can't. Well, do you know that God hears those conversations? So then, therefore, like, what maybe didn't work out was maybe his just protection, you know? And I think sometimes we have to understand that, like, the process of elimination, the process of losing can be a good thing. Because if we're just riding constantly on cloud 9, then, like, what's there to obtain? You know?
That's good.
If there's not a challenge, then it's like a lack of a challenge is, honestly, in my opinion, a lack of a challenge means an over emphasis of complacency. It creates complacency. If everything was so easy all the time, then it's like, what's there to chase? You know? If we didn't get punched in the face, you know, like, truthfully, I mean, Mike Tyson said that, like, everyone's tough and everyone has a plan until they've been punched in the face. You know? And that's, whether that's boxing and fighting or whether that's just life in general, bro. Like,
well, how do you know you're getting better or making a difference?
That's what I'm saying.
If everything's easy.
Okay.
You don't. There's no difference that you can make in where you've come or how far you've gone.
So it's funny you say that, because I had a football coach that said, you know, everyone puts this emphasis on second half adjustments, adjusting in the first half. But I'm gonna, like, make your mind go crazy. It's not just about the adjustments, okay? It's about who adjusts to the adjustments made against you. The third part. So you come out, you punch the team in the face. They adjust to that. They counter it. They stop it. How do you come back with a counter adjustment? The second adjustment. It's the adjustment to their adjustment. Whether that's sports, whether that's life. How do you adjust to the adjustment? Whether that's spiritual, bro. When you make a punch at the devil and they come back at you, hell comes back at you. Now, what do you do in response? Now, it's that second time you've got to restart again, because your game plan's figured out now.
That's good.
So now what's the next adjustment?
And that's key, because
they've adjusted to you now. So now, therefore, I have a second move I've got to make. And people forget the second move. They think the first scripted plays are just going to work. And it's like, if it's so easy at first, it looks bright, but then guess what? Eventually you're figured out. A team that you beat one week, the next week they're going to watch that film and the next team and be like, oh, no, they ain't going to run, 22 power on us all game. They're not going to run, a flood concept on us all game or a smash concept on us all game. No. Like, we got this prepared. And so a team comes into a game and they're like, oh, we've got this smash concept and I'm going to try to throw this in a cover. And a team says, well, guess what? Now we're going to run cover 2 on you, and you try to throw that hitch route on the outside and you get picked off. Oh, well, the team last week was in 4 playing quarters, so that was open, but then this time it's not.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's
key.
different, man.
That's key, because how often does this happen in life where you realize you need to make an adjustment. You make an adjustment, and then you have the worst week ever.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
What's your response?
Talking about that instant like gratification we desire, and it's not there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I just made this adjustment. This is going to be fire this week. And it's everything goes against you. What's your response?
And your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday just sucks.
What's your response after you made that adjustment and you just got hit with life and reality?
Yeah.
It's understanding that
that
when you make these changes, that when you're constantly looking and willing to be we call it, to build precept upon precept, right? So that just means constantly being changed and being improved in all areas of your life, it's not always going to be instant. Some, you might see instant results, but most, you're going to get hit with some stuff as soon as you make that change.
That's good.
But I also believe that's a test of what is your conviction? How much do you believe in this adjustment that you're making? How much do you believe in this process of constantly being willing to be changed, to be improved, to be, to be corrected? We don't like that word. Right? How much do you believe in that person?
Constructive criticism is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
People do not like it.
But it's necessary. So what do you do? What's your response?
So, okay, let's talk about that for 1 second, because constructive criticism, most people, they immediately just start going with like, well, don't judge me. Yeah, defensive, yeah. It's the defense mechanism that kicks in. And it's like, what if we went with the response of like, hold on a minute, like everyone has a right to their opinion, first and foremost. An opinion is not judgmental. I consider judging more of like a condemnation or a consequence bestowed upon someone. Well, I'm not in the Supreme Court. I'm not in a courtroom, but I have the right to an opinion based off the perception someone gives me. That's a human right. If I perceive something, that's not judging. And honestly, Jesus, said judge a tree by its fruit in the end of the day. But like, I mean, that's Bible. So, but it's like, if I'm just like perceiving something and then I go and tell someone, hey, look, I just want to encourage you, like, I think this would be so good for you. And they go with this, why are you judging me mentality? Yo, I didn't have to, I'm trying to help you. I could have kept walking, and then here's the problem. Then you keep walking, and then they're mad that you didn't even come up and acknowledge them or try to help them. It's like, we live in this society where you're just danged if you do, danged if you don't. You approach them, they're upset. You don't approach them, well, you didn't care about me in the first place. This is why we got to get back to conversations again and stop relying on our phones as a way to communicate. Yeah. Have in-person eye contact. The problem is, and people argue in comment sections, and it's like most of the time, I bet you if you look at those comments, someone just gave their opinion, and it was super classy, super nice, and because you can't show emotion or tone over text, someone's like, well, you're a little hot right now, you're a little firm right now, I don't like the tone of your comment, and it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, but if we would just get back to conversation,
yes,
and it's like, I'm not trying to hate on culture, but there's a real problem. And it's like, I've had people even say this, like I've had legitimate, like some of my buddies in other states, their wives have even said this, that they're like disappointed, and this is not to be sexist or anything. They're disappointed with the way females are today and even just the dating world, because this is how bad phones are today and social media. And I know this has happened to some of my friends where they'll approach a female and they'll say, the old traditional route of, hey, like they're talking, and he just says, hey, I'd like to get your number or offer you mine. Very classy, a gentleman, all of that. Oh, wow, we're getting a lot of sun real quick. You feel that? That got bright real quick. But think about this. So I'm going to tell you this story. So this guy like says that to this girl, like, hey, I'll give you, my number, or can I get yours? She looks at him, true story, and goes, what do you mean? Me give you my number? Like what? You want my address too? Are you some serial killer that's gonna stalk me? He's like, what in the world? So now this traumatizes his mind. So now the next woman, he decides, okay, should I ask for a social media handle? Like, hey, what's your Instagram or what's your Snapchat? So guess what that girl does? She looks at him and basically says, hey, you're probably just like all the other dudes that's going to try to send me an inappropriate photo or like want one from me. So then the guy's like, well, what do I do anymore? How am I supposed to meet somebody? And I'm like, dude, this is the problem in the world, is we have so many rules now and like traumas that people have never gotten rid of. Or what did you say at the beginning? Some Instagram reel or meme that like put some like thought into someone's mind that like, oh, well, this is how it always is in society. You better hold on to that number. Never give it out. They'll show up at your door wanting, to come inside and kill you or something, and like that's where they get this thought of, oh, well, what, are you a serial killer? Like they got that from some documentary or Instagram reel or something that scared them and put that thought in them. Mm-hmm. So now it's like at this point, it's like, well, then how are people supposed to meet? And it's like, you can't even approach anybody and just say, hey, how are you enjoying the concert? Because everyone's like this the whole time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, just to chime in on that, one of the things that's really interesting to me right now is that we have gotten away from being honest and accepting filters. And so we're so confused. We're so confused. We're so confused right now because you can make yourself look like anything. You can sound like anything on social media. And then when you meet that person in real life and you have a conversation, that's why they avoid the conversation, because they made up somebody online that they felt that you would never meet. And so I guess let's attack it. When are we gonna start being honest with ourselves again? Because what it really boils down to is if you spend all that time trying to make up something that you're not, rather than actually taking the time to discover who you are, apply a process, and actually build brick by brick, you can actually stand confidently in public and have conversations. That's why people today can't have conversations usually out in public. I mean, we're on a college campus now and people are talking, but they're surface level conversations. Yep. And I think that's where we're at, is that everything is surface level, and we're all so afraid to actually get in depth because we've made up everything that you see. And so until we get to the point where we're like, you know what? I'm going to be honest about who I am. I'm going to be honest about my struggles. I'm going to be honest about my setbacks. I'm going to be honest about my pain. And I'm going to stop creating a whole biography on AI that fits the narrative to whatever social group I'm trying to fit into. Because eventually, you're going to get exposed. And we have to get to the point where, you know what? You wouldn't worry about being exposed if you were truthful to yourself. You need to be confident. Hey, you know what? I'm not 6'5". I'm 6'2". I'm not 240 with the six pack. I'm 280. But I love who I am because I created that person. And I think that's important. And what we do is we forget. This is an old saying, but everything that you do in the dark comes to light. Everything that someone is going to find out somewhere. And the thing is, it's expedited. Right? It's expedited because I can Google, did you do this? Did you play here? Did you really participate in this? Well, yeah. Well, let's Google it. I don't see you. And here's the thing. Guess what? Matthew says this all the time. Think about this. He told me this years ago. We were working out one night. It was late. We were working out, and he said, "I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "How you leave something is how you enter it." How you leave something is how you enter it. So we have a whole generation and culture right now that leaves something lying, okay, with whatever they've made up in the back of their mind and posted, and then they're entering a new opportunity with the same lie.
Yeah, so it creates this bleeding effect onto the next opportunity. Yeah. So essentially, if I leave this job in a really very bad way, you're taking that mindset now into your next job. Yes. If I do someone dirty in a relationship, I'm taking that baggage with me to another relationship. So like how you end something or depart from something makes or breaks that next opportunity is basically the way to say it, you know?
Yeah, so it comes down to this, guys. And I love this that we're going to say this on campus. We have to start loving truth again.
Yeah.
We can
Not
teach
trends.
We can teach theory. We can teach rhetoric. We can teach thesis, opinions. We can make argumentative cases. But what are we ultimately seeking? Are we seeking knowledge or are we seeking truth? Because truth will set us free. What's truth going to set you free from? Offense. We're easily offended because someone tells you the truth and you don't like it because you've built your life on a lie. That's what you were saying. And when we realize that we built our life on a lie, we start to recognize all the different scenarios where we've just left things in ruins when we actually thought we were doing good.
Yeah.
We got to get back to loving truth. And knowing what truth is when we hear it.
You know, my mom told me growing up too was like, be okay with small wins.
That's good.
I think sometimes we just want everything up front, and this society has taught us about instant gratification. And I think sometimes you have to be okay with like the small wins of life. You know, we hear that in sports. Just win, baby. Just win the game. It doesn't matter how it looks. Just be on the other side of it. Like, be ahead on that scoreboard at the end when the clock hits 0. Sometimes you've just got to find a way to win.
Yeah.
No matter how it looks. We always seem to have a game plan that never goes the way we want it in life.
That's by design.
What's that?
I said that's by design.
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We always have a plan, and most of the time, those plans get altered.
Yes. I don't think I've had
If
one.
there was anything I could tell a student right here, if I could literally stand
say
up in
that.
front of everybody right now, I
you
would
do
say,
it? Can you stand
every
up?
one of you right now thinks you have this cloud-9 plan for your life. And I guarantee you in 4 to 5 years from now, you will be remembering when you walked on these stairs and say, my mindset was totally different. Because you will have a complete change of life 5 years from now. I'm telling you. That's why when you ask me, what did it feel like with your birthday? I'm like, bro, like, once I hit my 30s, like, something just, there's a different mindset.
Yeah, it does.
You know? And then, like, the significance of 33. Like, obviously, you know, Jesus died at 33. So my mindset was like, shoot, man, he died at 33 so I can live at 33. Like, is this my hopes and dreams coming into reality? You know? You get what I'm saying?
But you know what's crazy about what you just said?
Mindsets change. Like, I never would have thought that, like, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like, think about this. You guys are about to turn 40. Like, I'm just going to expose y'all. You're about to turn 40. Like,
I love it.
next year.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it. I love
And
it.
I'm 33. So think about it. You guys are a little older than me. But, like, you guys are going into that new decade next year. So think about it. I'm sure there's things, and I'm sure every human can say this, that there's things you probably would have liked to already have right now at 33 and at 39, going into 40. But maybe you don't have it. And that's like, because I can tell you right now, there's certain things in my life I thought I was already going to have by now when I was like 25.
Yeah.
8 years ago. Certainly 10, 15 years ago in high school and college. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you think about all that, man, like, it's real. I had my own plans, and sometimes it went a different way.
Yeah, let me speak to that real quick, because that's a really good point that you brought up, and I appreciate you sharing.
It's
just your-
serious, though.
It's real.
Sharing your vulnerability.
It's real.
We are a few years older than you, so something has happened as I've gotten closer to 40 that is super
I
interesting.
exposed you so bad, man.
I welcome it. Here's why.
We're good.
Here's why. You stop living your life wishing for things that you don't have, and you start looking around and appreciating what you do have. And the older you get,
Yeah.
so there's this saying, right? The younger you are, the more you look ahead, but the older you get, the more you look back. And so as we
So you're saying what my mom said, appreciating the small wins in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as you get
Yeah.
older, you start recognizing where God was operating in your life, and
Yeah.
you start being more appreciative
Yeah.
rather than having the focus of, I can't wait till. And I don't know what causes that shift other than the perspective of, I'm just speaking for me, that you recognize immediately that your life is not your own once you reach a certain age.
Yeah.
Why? Because after so many times of trying to do things your way,
Yeah.
and they usually go wrong,
Yeah.
and then you start taking wisdom and advice from spiritual parents,
Yeah.
your actual parents, people that have been around the block, and you do what they say, and it
Yeah.
works out, and you're like, okay. So
Yeah.
even just by following the advice of someone else shows that you are willing
Yeah.
to relinquish total control. You're willing to trust
Yes.
in something and someone who might carry something
Yes.
that can get you to the next
Stop
level.
thinking it's just judging, you know?
And you're not-
So
yeah.
Let me ask this question to you guys. People tell you don't look back at your past, you can't change it, you can't fix it, right? It's gone. It's over. Like, it happened, you can't go back and change it. what if somebody comes back and says, well, what if my past is still affecting my present and potentially my future? What if it's like my past is still a part of my present moment? Think about that. How would you answer a question like that? If somebody here in this campus asked that question, well, my past is affecting me right now.
My response would be, and that may be, there are some choices that have outcomes that you just have to live with.
Yeah.
Now, my question to them would be, this. Why is your windshield much larger than your rear view?
Ooh.
The response to that is,
oh my, you about to make me stand up.
the response to that is,
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Here we go. Lock in.
and the purpose for that is the perspective. Your perspective when you look ahead is so much greater because of the opportunity that lies ahead.
Yeah.
When you're looking in your rear view,
Yeah.
there's no opportunity there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only a reference point.
Yeah. Man.
Why? It might give you some semblance of things that might be somewhat around that you might not be able to see, and you might reference, well, you might use your past to reference, well, this happened this time, so I know that I can work through that. But shift your focus to what lies ahead. And when you do that, those things that once plagued you will start to fade away, just like your rear view.
Man. Wow. You got anything to add, Willie?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think that let's just talk about God for a second, just for a second, because I think that what happens is, as I'm approaching 40, is the fact. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Matt already shared it, okay?
40.
But I think this is important, and I'm just talking about my own journey for a second. For decades, I did my plan. I focused on my plans. I focused on my way. And what I found is I look back and just evaluate a lot of the chaos, a lot of the misunderstandings. Those were self-inflicted wounds. And I really believe that there's a scripture that says, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans. And people, I think they rush over that scripture because it says, for I know the plans, not you. And so when you can get to that place, I think, of maturity, and I don't think it matters if you're 40 or 20, that if every plan that you ever had, most of the time has yet to come exist, why wouldn't you pursue something of a higher power according to your life? And so for me, I think I found more peace just because I know that wherever I'm at right now, because I was able to let go, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And when you can come to terms that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, I believe peace truly chases you down, deep down to the depths of your soul, because you're no longer relying on your own strength. Because even when you think you're relying on your own strength, it's funny. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. You have to surround yourself with other people who are in a fight, who know how to fight, who are willing to fight. Because guess what? At 39 years old, I've realized something. I'm very, very specific about who I let speak into my life and who I surround myself with, particularly when nobody's watching, because publicly, it's easy to look apart. It's easy to play apart. But what you're doing when nobody's watching is really a directive of who you're allowing to speak into your life, who you're spending the quality time with when the cameras are not on, and I think, and who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that's where it boils down to, is understanding that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm with the people. They're going to help me get to where God wants me to go. Yeah. And I'm excited about it because I know at the end of the day, it's an amazing place.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's big, man. I think we've talked about a lot of heavy stuff. And I think, like, as the week goes on, you know, we're going to be here all week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we've got a lot of great conversations to really have and talking just centered around this, because I think it'd be great to talk about some of our backgrounds too. You
Absolutely.
know, because I'm going to tell you right now, like, I wasn't a perfect human being. Like, I can say that right now. I think especially, you know, And people might be shocked hearing that, because I think like there's this thing, and I'll just be vulnerable, like pastors' kids, like my brother and I, everyone either does one of two things. They look at you to be perfect, or they look at you to make a mistake. And depends what crowd's watching you. And I'm just here to say, like, no, I'm not a perfect person. I mean, can we talk that the Bible literally says everyone has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God? So, like, legitimately, like, that doesn't make me perfect. You know what I mean? I think that's the beauty of sometimes looking back at the past to say, like, how much it propelled me to where I'm at now and where I could still be going. That's the beauty of it, But I think we have to understand that, like I said, we have to take the small wins, but sometimes you really got to take the small losses and say that's okay too. That relationship that didn't end, that ended, that friendship that ended, that job that didn't work out, that application. Sometimes, like, it goes back to the old saying, it's a setback for a major comeback, and sometimes you have to be okay with that. I'll let you guys wrap up.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this week and just being out here on campus and interacting with the students. It's
Talk
always
about giveaways too.
Also a great time. Yeah, we're doing raffle giveaways. Oh, cool. We'll hold this up.
Got that. Yeah.
We have a massive basket of school supplies that we're going to be giving away on Wednesday, as well as Visa gift cards, because we know students love money. I mean, who doesn't? But really, in college, you definitely need it. So we're going to be giving all that away on Wednesday. We'll be here all week. We got students stopping by the tent to talk about Gamechangers, what it means to walk in your purpose and identity beyond just the major that you're going for. This is going to be an awesome time. Hopefully the weather cooperates like it did today.
Good.
It was really good. And so it'll be here from 11 to 1 most of the week, and then Thursday I think was 12 to 2 or something like that. But we're going to be coming to you guys every single day right here on campus. What I believe this is going to do too is we're not just out here just to be out here. Matt and I have had on our hearts for a long time that
community is important.
Our call, yes, inside the church is big, but really, what are we doing outside the four walls? What are we doing to leave the community better than we found it? How are we interacting with people in a day-to-day basis? And so that's what you're going to continue to see more of from a Game Changers perspective, and where we'll be and why we're doing what we're doing. So, of course, if you want to support us, feel free to donate, lohchurch.org/give. Donate drop down. You can see Game Changers. Help us stay funded so we can continue to be out here in different parts of the community and just reaching people with the message of Jesus, but also the message of restoration, hope, and also just being encouraged to walk through anything that you might be facing.
No, I'll just end with this. You wanna change the game in your life. I was taught this at a young age, that honor and integrity is a big thing. So I just want to take a second here and thank Matt and Anthony for allowing me to be on the show today. And we're just excited to see where Game Changers is heading, and we're just blessed to be a part of it.
We appreciate having you on the show, man. This was a great conversation.
This was a great conversation. We're going to have to do this more often.
I think you might have a job as a facilitator, man. You were throwing some questions out there. It was great.
Hey,
deep ones.
You have to, man. I think when you really sit back and watch how the world's changed, man, you start sitting back and also saying to yourself, what questions would the world ask?
That's good.
Because if you're really saying we're going to change the game, then you really got to think, what does people desire to have change in their life?
That's good.
What questions would they want answered that could maybe be a change of impact to them?
This is good.
If we could look at stuff from the perspective of other people and not just always our own mind, I think we would grow as a society. We try to just think from our own minds instead of other people's minds, and it's man, if we could just think sometimes what somebody else might be thinking about and going through. And I get the whole adage of you can't live in someone else's mind. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about thinking about their potential struggles.
Compassion.
Yes.
It's 100%.
It's serious, bro. But
guys,
that's it.
You guys got a preview. Continue to tune in. Keep your notifications on. Keep your noties on. get subscribed, and we're gonna be coming to you all week.
Yes.
We cannot wait. And until next time, guys, continue to change the game in your city, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.